Hello, and welcome everyone to a brand new series of War on the Sea. This series is going to be a challenge campaign, our first. We are playing as the US, of course, and the challenge of this campaign is we are not going to be using any aircraft carriers or submarines whatsoever throughout the course of the series. So we are just going to use surface ships, which is very, very limiting indeed. Which does, of course, mean we have to play rather cautiously. And therefore we're also starting with quite the large and rounded battle group here right at the start of this campaign. However, that is not to say we won't be using planes at all. I know that's going to get some people shivering there, but we of course quite basically going to have to use some scout planes, obviously. Can't go in completely blind. But we are of course going to capture enemy bases and build them up because we will need fighter support, because the enemy of course is not restricted from using carriers or subs themselves, and we will need some real combat air patrol when we do fight eventually some carrier task forces. And there will certainly be carrier forces because we are also playing with the expanded Arsenal mod, and we have activated the more berserk AI as it's been described. This is an AI which is much more aggressive than anything we have seen before. It uses more interesting fleet compositions as well. I've been playing around in my own time and fought a 2 CV, that's a Hiyo and a Shokaku fleet carriers, escorted by 2 battleships as well, Fuso and a Congo. So it's very, very deadly. I don't know about hoping to see some here. It'd be very interesting to watch, but this is going to be a tough campaign. We may not necessarily win, but we do have the extra ships in our arsenal now because of the nature of the mod. Both the IJN and the US have been given more of their core ships, so heavy cruisers and battleships, and certain carriers have had more of their types added to their rosters. There is still a bit of a disparity between the two fleets, so the IGN does still have less ships overall, but we're not going to be seeing just the 2 Yamatos here, 2 Fusas there sort of thing. It's going to be a lot more about, and therefore much more tricky for us. And with all that in mind, this is going to be a campaign which should encourage many more surface battles, and it's going to be backwards and forwards, not going to be the steamroll which has previously been the case in War on the Sea. So, with that all being said, let's get to the strategic map and see what we've started with, shall we? Okay, so fairly standard opening move, although we are not starting with any transport or merchant ships. We are going to invade Renal Island immediately. We have Battle Force 1, which is our only true fighting force to start with. We have used up all of our available command points. So we have a South Dakota as our core. We have a Northampton and a Portland heavy cruisers to support that, an Atlanta and a Brooklyn as well to provide decent AA fire, and of course the ability to carry some cargo with them, and of course there's some decent firepower for enemy destroyers and such. We also have 5 destroyers, a mix of Benson, Summers, Porter and Benham. That's very nice just for of course anti-submarine warfare capabilities and some mild troop transports there. You can see this is all loaded up with troops, and our Atlanta and Brooklyn are carrying 400 supplies between them. We have an ASW Group 1, which is going to rely mostly on these force destroyers over here. We've brought in the transport type Clemsons just to bolster our invasion on Renal Island to begin with. That's going to take 9.8 hours for them to get over there. How long is it going to take our first battle force here? 10.7, not too bad at all. So it's good that this group is ahead, because like it says, the main focus is anti-submarine warfare purposes. Once we've dropped off our troops, going to bring back the Clemsons, and they can wait around and just ferry troops backwards and forwards like so. We also have an ASW Group 2 over here. We are using the Operation Magazine mod as well. So we'll see some different ship types as we have done previously. So these are some new type destroyers over here. Not exactly quick, but they do carry a lot of depth charges and a couple torpedoes here and there. But once again, looking for anti-submarine warfare, just 2 patrol outs above New Guinea over here. They do carry Hedgehog launching depth charges, which is excellent. So we're going to give those a spin if need be, and the enemy will be employing a lot of submarines, I would put money on. So what we're going to start with is just getting some scouting going. Like so. So let's see what we have to start with here. Just going to do some radial scouts. We can already see some enemy scouting aircraft, hopefully coming off of Renault Island, but I'd imagine there's something larger coming about. We have sighted something denoted as a battleship task force. Let's go straight in and see what we are up against to begin with then. Can already see... I hope I've misidentified this. Really hope. No, I haven't. Great. So... As you can see, a Hizen and a Congo already. Very, very nasty indeed. Very, very nasty. Escorted by 2 Myoko heavy cruisers and this is 2 Sendais. Very interesting. What destroyers do we have? A Fubuki. We have another Fubuki. We have an Akizuki and a Sashio Kagero or Yugamo over here. So very, very nasty indeed already. That battleship firepower, horrible, horrible stuff. Not sure we could stand up to this without building up perhaps some bases or using our B-17s from the new Hebrides there. That's going to be very, very tough indeed. Already looking very, very spicy. Let's carry on, because I think we are going to be finding... Let's see if this is the same. Yeah, this is just the same, isn't it? It's okay, cool. So we are going to be finding some... just mark that off, actually. We're going to be finding some very nasty submarine groups, I think, very close to us. Because there's a lot of these scouts about, actually, aren't there? And if they turn out to be Glens, that's not a good sight. Kingfisher, yeah, that's just the same group. SW1 has found something, so just double check we are in a 2-column scout. We certainly are. Just want to be 2-column proper there, just to make sure that we can get some more time to maneuver, make sure our sonars are fine. Just double check the weakness of these Clemsons, I believe, is that they aren't great for sonar purposes. They do have depth charges, which is excellent. They do have sonar, so that's not too worried. They're certainly capable of defending themselves against submarines. So let's get going. Okay, so the rain is up. We have a visibility of 40% total and a sea state of 4, so rather rough, a bit choppy. Let's see if we can sight any torpedoes in the water. What have we just sighted there? New contact ship 270. Oh, okay. So, that's not good. Not good at all. This is very, very close to our start. So it's not, in fact, submarines. It's a nasty, nasty surface group. Nasty, nasty surface group. We're going to lay smoke and retreat, I think. Maybe try and launch out some torpedoes if possible, actually. Maybe try and launch out some torpedoes, but certainly get our speed up to max. How fast can the Clemsons actually go here? They can go 24 knots. That's not great at all. Gonna have to drop those off, I think. Smoke up as quickly as possible, really. What do we have then? What do we have? We have a foot attacker. We have an, I believe that's Agano. And we have Fubuki. Another Fubuki. What else do we have? Another foot attacker and another destroyer there. So rather nasty for this particular group. I think it's very capable of taking this on with our main battle force. But we're just going to, I think, identify this foot attacker to begin with. Like so, if we go to Japanese heavy cruisers, foot attacker, there we go. Maybe we're 12 kilometers away from us, certainly very easily within their range there. Just lay some smoke and get out. Not even try to get some torpedoes here, I don't think. It's going to take far too long. They are losing contact, so hopefully they're losing contact with us as well. But then again, they do have the Jake in the area here. Okay, so we did manage to disengage there. It's just, I think we should just carry on with our course at the moment to just go straight towards Renault Island over here. Just to make sure that Battle Force 1 does get there as quickly as possible, trying to intercept that for us, I think. And of course, not long after, the enemy has launched just a group of Mavises over towards us. So it looks like we've lost that enemy task force, the surface task force, but these Mavises are armed just with a few torpedoes here. Should certainly be able to sort these out. We're going to just make a turn to port over here, increase our speed. We do, of course, have smoke layer up. Just hope that our flak and small arms do sort those out before they manage to drop. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, like I say. They are very slow moving large Mavises over here. But hopefully, I think what we'll do is we turn away there and start turning in now, because we are presenting quite the broadside for them. They're going to be able to drop fairly soon. Would have liked them to, they are doing quite well with coming towards the front of our formation here, really reducing the amount of small arms we can get up. But that's one down. Doesn't look like they're going for the lead destroyer though, which is helping us out. There's another, so just one more, and I think should be alright. There we go, lovely stuff. And we can get out of there. Hopefully we can actually get rid of this Jake. That'd be really nice if we could. So the enemy isn't scouting us quite so easily there, but we are, I think, just about within their radar range from Renault Island there. Okay, so it has begun. Very, very nasty position here. I was expecting this to be the enemy surface task force, but we've already discovered a submarine contact right in front of this Benham here. We are going to break off from the formation, decrease our, actually keep our speed fair over here at 11 knots, catch up with that. Sea state is a very high 5 though, and not the good high 5. We are going then, I think, to assume that there's more than one contact over here. Undiscovered contact, of course. Increase our speed a tad, turn out to port with Brooklyn and Summers and such, just to move away over here. Mayo can, I think, carry on over here, move around, increase our speed there. Atlanta can turn out at full speed as well, I think. The Porter can as well. That can circle round if possible. They'll take quite a wide circle round. But it is the South Dakota that is really going to struggle over here. That needs to turn out as quickly as possible. The Northampton, I think, should be relatively safe from this particular contact, but we need to assume there's others about, of course. So we are going to turn out to starboard. Portland as well is going to be in quite a bit of a bother. I think we assume that the Portland actually might be the one to be targeted, seeing as though that's going right into the line of sight over here. Oh, that's going to be tough. That's going to be very, very tough. If we move the wrong way here, we're going to lose a Portland off the bat. And I don't want to lose one straight off the bat. They do have a few available. So, I think we might just risk taking a torpedo on the nose and present a narrow target and move in as quickly as possible there, but we are going to have to watch out for the Benham, of course, and the Benson can turn in as well at a slow speed, slowish, just 11 knots, turn in to help out with the sonar contact there. What sort of sub is this though? Not going to abuse the mechanic just yet to look under. This is turning the wrong way. Great, because this is right on top of the enemy here. What's this? Another sonar contact over here. Ooh, not liking that. Brooklyn, of course, doesn't have any anti-submarine capabilities. Not even sonar, of course. Okay, so I think Benham actually can hunt the number 2 over here. If we go straight up, the Benson can go towards this over here at a higher speed just to catch up at the moment. Can't see any torpedoes fired out. So what the Portland can do, I think, is full speed ahead actually and just get out, really. The torpedoes should not be able to arm at this range now. What range is that exactly? 300 meters distance, and we have torpedoes in the water, yeah, right on top of us now. I really hope they're not able to arm. Can't even see them exactly myself, right off of our starboard side there. Stop turning so much, I think, with the South Dakota then. Let's see where those are going. They are going for the South Dakota. I think we start turning a little more port side here. Okay, so we stop with this over here because that's ruining our sonar contact. Move back round with the Summers, I think. Yeah, just give it a turn order there and increase our speed to help us out. But survival rather than hunting a course should be the name of the game here. Just going to make sure we thread the needle a little bit, as much as we can over here. I think that's a little more mild turn, I think. Stop turning for now. I think try and get a line over here. Yeah, we'll just re-engage the number 2, not to worry. Turn Benson round. Benham can travel up as well. How are we looking with these? Might want to turn to port a tad once again. And make sure that we slow down a tad so the torpedoes just overtake us here. Hopefully they make a wide enough gap, a battleship size gap, so that we don't hit our rudder. Looks like we're just able to do that. Just about able to do that. That will take off the paint. Look at that. Just threading the needle there. So I think we can stop here, and we need to stop in the Northampton because we're about to crash in over here. We'll start turning out a tad actually with Mayo. Turn over here and slow to a halt, I think, while we're doing so, just so that we don't hit our own ship and collide there, because it'd be a tad on the embarrassing side. And we're going to increase our speed, catch up with number 2 here. Watch out over here. Can actually see, I thought that was a stream. How close are we? Let's get some depth charges ready, actually, because we're right, very, very close. If you turn around, just checking everyone else is okay on the map there. Yeah, I think we're actually going to have to turn around for this because these depth charges just aren't going to hit. That's a shame. That's a real shame. But we'll re-engage it. So Brooklyn should be as a halt. Portland can be as a halt as well. And we'll try and re-engage those subs. Let's bring the porter back around, shall we? Okay, so just coming up with our Benham to the number 2 contact. We've got 4 loads of depth charges ready. Just waiting to get a little bit of lead. The enemy is, of course, moving forwards over here. Make sure we're not crashing into the Northampton ahead. And I think once we're just over the nose, that should about do now. Lovely. Let's just reduce our speed because 20 knots is rather quick. We'll just overshoot that far too much. How are we doing with the Benson? Get that turning in just a second. Get some nice hits actually on the rear of this. That should really damage it. You can see the speed already dropping to a halt there. Very nasty saturation over here now. And the Benson is going to have to make a really hard turn now over here because it was going in the wrong direction there. But how are we with this? If we slow down, we can reverse back over this. Take an action report, so you can see that's got a little bit of a tilt to it. Yeah, critical flooding, so that should flood out by itself. Maybe it will blow its ballast. We need to double check for that. And that should go down. Yeah, it's absolutely sinking now, which is brilliant. So we can sit tight with this Benham. Off we, yeah, this is number 1 we've just re-established contact with. Very nice indeed. We shall actually get the Porter over to sit as a sonar contact for that, and we'll make sure we turn around with the Benson here. Okay, so very, very nice first blood to us. There should have been 2 Type Bs. Yeah, Type B and a Type B Mod 1. Very nice indeed. Incidentally, of course, the Japanese known for having rather a number of submarines and actually relying on them. Because of this mod, it providing certain extra ships in certain areas, the Type Bs have been increased to a total number of 80 in class. So, not even dented that, have we? But yeah, there's going to be a massive, massive threat throughout this campaign, as it should be, really, with fighting the Japanese. So a bit sad that didn't hit our ASW1 over here, but can't have everything. Did actually do that fairly well. Let's land on Renault Island and see if we can call it a day there, I think. Okay, so a bit of time has passed, and one of our kingfishers, incidentally right on top of Guadalcanal, has sighted what appears to be a different, possibly battleship task force. Let's take a look over here, because I think I recognise, yes, we have a Fuso already. Very, very nice indeed. I am liking actually how this layered defence for the Japanese has worked out. Certainly making a lot more use of their light cruisers a little more intelligently. So we do have a Fuso, a Myoko, another Myoko, excellent. We have a Kumanagara, make that 1, 2, 3 light cruisers, another Sendai over here, and of course the usual host of destroyer escorts over here, which is actually not too heavy on destroyers. About 4 of them, and they all appear to be very similar. We do have a Hatsuharu to stand out there. So that's just on top of Guadalcanal, and that's something it's going to be a little more difficult than the more minor task force we've recently cited, but I think a lot more manageable than the Hizen-led task force that we've previously cited. So that's certainly something to think about there. Okay, so it should also be in range to unload all cargo onto Renault Island here. That's great. So, didn't actually visualize the numbers in my head. So it's 350 troops and 750 supplies. Certainly well supplied, but of course nowhere near enough troops, and that's absolutely fine. What we're going to do is, with this group then, is detach the Clemsons and split group here. And what they can do is ferry troops backwards and forwards from the New Hebrides for us. What they might be able to do in the future, once we've taken Renault Island, is actually charge on up to some of the neutral islands. I would love to take New Georgia to provide some radar and of course central airfield-based fighters for future cap purposes, and of course scouting. So we're going to push up then with our ASW group. Just get some distance between Renault Island, and we can start patrolling the open waters here for any further groups. Kite away, of course, from battle groups. Send out torpedoes if possible, but of course go for that submarine protection. Nothing else here so far. Should really, of course, launch some scouts, and I think we certainly will. Okay, so the time has come. We are just about ready to land the rest of our troops and supplies onto Renault Island, but we have sighted that enemy task force incoming. So, quite lucky that it is with our main battle force here. We're just going to send a simple manoeuvre off first to turn to starboard over here to give them a broadside, cross their T quite hard. Get as many guns firing on them as possible. We're going to turn off, though, also fire flak because that will take our destroyers' guns away and shoot the scouting jakes over here. They don't have any bombs attached, they're not a threat. Might be an idea to get a couple ships firing at that. We might just be able to get our small arms actually when they fly over us, so the enemy can't notice us so well. But we're going to get some shots out. What do we have? We have, of course, foot attacker. Let's try and focus this as quickly as possible then. We'll get some spotting fire out to begin with here. And we will, of course, try and identify that. South Dakota can fire on this particular one as well. Fire out, thank you very much. There's a number 2 heavy cruiser it is. So Portland can fire onto the number 2. That's another foot attacker. Very nice indeed. I'll just go over to that, identify that. Atlanta, actually Brooklyn can help out with that particular one. You can certainly fire out over there. It's 23 kilometers away actually. That is quite the distance. So what we will do is also fire out flak them so that we can just target these incoming planes, and we'll keep our distance, and that will mean that only these foot attackers can fire on us. You can hear the thunder of our battleship guns already going out, but with the low solution at the moment, so that's not going to hit at all. Probably should have just held out and waited for our solution to build up. That's quite the rookie mistake, actually. So we'll hold out once again. Do we have our own scouts in the area? We've got a Kingfisher out, so I think we will just bring that over to help scouts out as well. I've just sighted a number 3 ship. That is an Agonal. Is that firing out at us? That shouldn't have the range. Let's go towards that. Range is 21 kilometers actually, so it's getting close. It's getting close. You can just hear the splashes. Yeah, quite a way off there. Not to worry. What's our solution? Actually, 99 solution. Let's just fire out like that then. Very nice indeed. And we'll stop spotting fire actually. Let's get to shoot to kill. Very nice indeed. Just make sure we're narrow like that. Let's double check over here as well. Dual purpose guns are there? No, they're certainly not on the Brooklyn, which is fine. So the destroyers should be able to handle these Jakes, and that will help blind the enemy there. Very nice indeed. Some more shots out of the South Dakota here. Exactly what we need. How are we doing with those Jakes? We're down to 1. Just through this massive wall of flak as well. There we go, that's another one down. Let's see how our shots aren't doing over here. They should be landing very soon. Okay, so we did actually start to lose contact with the enemy, which is rather interesting. But we have re-established contact. Our Kingfisher is within sight range. So it looks like the enemy was actually rather heavily on fire with one of their foot attackers, but not quite as majorly as it would have led us to believe. They are smoking, though, to try and lay some cover. It's being more drawn out than I'd hoped, to be honest. More drawn out. We should have some very nice solutions. Certainly getting some very near misses there with our battleship. There's a bit of a list on the centre line of this foot attacker over here, which is very nice indeed. What we could do is try and push in a little bit actually. Why do I get the feeling our South Dakota is not going quite at max speed? It's quite the gap here. That is interesting. What we're going to do then is line up with South Dakota and Portland, line ahead like so, and they can go at their own rate just to make sure we don't have any problems there. They can probably push in a tad, to be honest, like so, and in that case what we'll do is get the destroyers over here, push out, I think, to get them away from the enemy so that they don't take any hits, so they don't lose any destroyers too quickly over here. That would be nice. Let's get the Benson out as well then. What is the range on our US torpedoes actually? Not that they're going to be particularly reliable. Let's go to Gleaves and such. They should be 13 kilometers. They're certainly not going to reach nowhere near the standard of Japanese torpedoes, of course. So in that case, we're going to just, I think, don't want to turn around like this, I think, with the Benham. Stay. Brooklyn can stay as it is, I think. How are we turning with the South Dakota? I think, here we go, a little slower here and just allow the leading ships ahead of us to push on out. So we are taking a couple hits, nothing too major at the moment, nothing we can't handle. We are building our solutions. So luckily they are actually focusing our battleship, which can take the hits. You can see just very, very mild total structural damage there, although the funnel is taking some damage, which would explain, despite being at 100% speed capacity, would explain why we're slowing down then. You know what, I think I'm actually just going to break off with the Portland here. Break that off entirely. Come round. Are we looking at the enemy though? Have we made any more hits? Doesn't appear so. This foot attacker isn't doing too well. What's his speed? 15 knots. Just not quite getting the direct hits we would like, unfortunately. We are now getting in range for the enemy destroyers to start firing out, so I think we'll circle out with our own destroyers to start focusing fire there. Be nice to get rid of these scouts though, wouldn't it? Just outside of our small arms now though. What we're doing over here, I think we slow down a tad with our Northampton just to throw off the enemy again. Speed up with Brooklyn, I think. And actually turn around so that we can get on the enemy's flank and keep as many guns firing as possible. Increase the speed of our South Dakota over here. Should be fine with our Portland as well. Just turn out a tad there. Benson and Porter, I think, can line ahead. Let's bring that down here. Form up, bring them together, and they can actually turn up across the enemy's T there, and then maybe join in with the Mayo. Summers needs to increase its speed and actually pull up as well. That Mayo can join on with that in a second. Let's turn that round. Atlanta is fine at the moment. It's not actually taking any hits. It doesn't have a solid target, so take off the autofire flak because it's taking away its main guns. We can start firing, I think, maybe on a destroyer as well with this, or even actually the Agano over here, because that's going to be rather nasty. Let's get some spotting fire outs and go for, I'll just identify this properly. Like so, there we go, lovely stuff. That'll help us out. A little too close for comfort of these ships, I think. Don't need to spot anymore, just fire for effect here. We can spot with our battleship, and I think we can clear our own smoke actually as well now that we've started making manoeuvres properly, because it's only going to hinder our own solutions as well. Looks like they're starting to think about hitting our destroyers now, though. We don't like that at all. Already taken a couple hits there, has the Venom. Might just wants to make this a skirmish. Yeah, taking some flooding on the nose there already. And actually regroup and pull out, I think, very soon. As much as it pains me to say, we're just not getting the hits in, are we? And coming for round 2 later when we're a bit fresher. How are we looking over here? Very nice solution now actually on this foot attacker. But I don't think that's really too much of a threat anymore. It doesn't have firing angles on us. So I think we need to actually focus this foot attacker over here. So what we'll do is we'll take our directors off of there, hold on over here, get some spotting fire out with our secondaries. And we're not doing too badly actually on that. Just fire up over here. Get some secondaries out as well. That'll really help. And I think start firing out with Summers and such as well. Let's identify these ships. That's a Fibiki. Lovely. Yeah, we can fire out on that as well. That is just about in range, I believe. Double check. Yeah, not quite in range, but it will take off also fire flat because it's not helping. Yeah, that's nasty. I think we'll bring smoke back up for this ship. And just try and get out, really, if we can. Just get some more range out, I think. So increase the speed to max, push on up. Should be okay over here. You taking any hits on the Northampton? We're not, which is good. We'll let the Benham overtake that and then start firing out. I think we will actually focus the Agano with this over here as well. Just hold out there, get the solution up, and then we can fire out. How are we doing with the South Dakota? Let's fire out. Taking some more hits though. Got a bit of a fire going on the nose. Not liking that. We need to keep an eye out to make sure the enemy is not turning out their torpedoes. Make sure they don't get any of those off. So I've got quite the fire out over here though. This foot attacker might well be dead in the water. Are the guns still active? They do look like it, so they're aiming. Yeah, they're turning. Do they have line of sight though? Yeah, it looks like they do. They're convinced they do. How are we getting on over here though? If we destroy these heavy cruisers, we'll be much better. This Fubuki's just taking a massive hit. It's not even a Fubuki. Who is firing at that if that's taken out? It must be stray shots for this foot attacker. Must be. I can't remember sending anyone out for that. We're going to have to turn around with the loss of our ships, I think, just to get some better firing angles there. Oh, Benham, no, 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 no. First of our losses there then. Let's increase our speed with Northampton. So leave Benham for dead, unfortunately, and turn in then with our Northampton. Get some better firing angles going. Not much we can do about that now, unfortunately. How we're doing over here, looking like we're getting some decent hits finally on this foot attacker, and that's going to be very, very nice indeed. The Agano not taking any so far by the looks of things, might not necessarily be quite in range with our Atlanta, which is why we're turning round once again. Let's keep this Kingfisher in range as well, just get on the flank over there. And there we go. While there were only 6 ships in that particular task force, they did wreak some rather nasty damage on us. They did, of course, sink a Benham, and towards the end, a Summers was taking some rather nasty damage. A lot of fires on the nose of that particular ship, but we have come out of that victorious, as we bloody well should have done. 11 command points gained out of that as well, and that will mean that our landing in the future on to Rennell Island will in fact be that much safer. However, that is unfortunately all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. I've been very excited to bring this series to, so I hope you have enjoyed it so far. Much more to come, looking very, very spicy action throughout, going by the 2 really nasty task forces sighted over here. So, hope to see you in the future. Please leave your feedback in the comments section below. It's always very, very helpful and enjoyable to read through those. However, I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.